Good morning, guys. Everything new under the sun. You're looking at a Zero Hedge article here about the latest hurricane or potential hurricane to hit the east coast of the United States. And I think the timing is interesting because, of course, we were supposed to have the revealing of the Trump peace plan and what was expected to be the dividing of Jerusalem and the playing with the nation of Israel, which God gave to the Jewish people, and includes the whole Levant, even, and not just the portion of Israel that they now occupy. And this Hurricane Florence could threaten the East Coast early next week. It has become a significant hurricane, a Category 3 hurricane with sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. So this is interesting, and this is powerful Category 4. It's apparently Category 4 right now as we speak. Started off as a Category 3 when it was first started when they first started tracking it, and it's going to cause trouble for Bermuda starting Friday and slam the U.S. East Coast next week. And so we're watching these hurricanes because in the past how these hurricanes, many of them have seemed to coincide pretty much directly with world events, end time Bible prophecy, and relate to God pouring His wrath out in response to people who are trying to divide Jerusalem. Well, then we go to this CBSNews.com article. Now, this is from August 22nd, 2018. I've yet to find a good article which kind of confirms the date that they're going to reveal this. And according to John Bolton, there's no specific timetable for the releasing of this. So this is what he says. No timetable for Trump's Middle East peace plan. Donald Trump's national security advisor says there's no timetable for releasing the administration's much anticipated Mideast peace plan. Bolton said Wednesday in Jerusalem that a lot of progress has been made, but he refused to speculate what the plan entailed or when it may be publicized. The Trump administration recently began staffing its Mideast policy team ahead of the plans expected to release. So Trump's expanding the group behind it, nailing down, I assume, the finer points of this. But I have yet to see kind of a concrete timeline or date when they're exactly going to put this out. And they've been, teasing releasing this for a while now. I've seen headlines about Netanyahu saying, he's not going to rush or move ahead the peace plan anytime soon. Trump officials have long promised the most comprehensive package ever put forward toward resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Palestinians have indicated they consider it a non-starter, given Trump's bias towards Israel and his unilateral recognition of Jerusalem as its capital. Bolton would not address Trump's comments or say what the Palestinians could expect. Work continues, he said at a press conference. He said Palestinians have used as agents. Palestinians have been used as agents by radical leaders over years for their own political purposes, and that when the plan was rolled out, they would discover that the Trump administration wants to give them a chance for a decent life, he says. So interesting information here. And again, I'm looking for more recent information about, when is this exactly going to be revealed. But this is kind of the next big thing to be waiting for in September, if they will reveal it in September. And what comes of the hurricanes? Is there going to be another associated hurricane, as there has in the past with the previous hurricanes, which seemingly have coincided directly with U.S. leaders' comments or intervention or statements related to the division of Israel or anti-Israel in some sense. And the Bible does say that those who try to cut Jerusalem in pieces, will themselves be cut in pieces. And the nations that do that will be cut in pieces. And that's kind of what we've seen there in the past with these events, with these speaking engagements when they've come out to divide the land of Israel. the U.S. has been hit with some of the most massive hurricanes ever. Check out Bill Koenig's book Eye to Eye, and that kind of lines up and details out the hurricanes in relation to the statements, the stances that the United States in particular, and this is probably the case for every other country, but it's it kind of centers on the U.S. because he's an American, and details out the coincidence between the massive hurricanes that have hit the U.S. and stuff that the leaders, and specifically the President of the United States, has said against Israel, the state of Israel, or related to the dividing of Jerusalem. So these are things we're watching. How will this hurricane turn out? Will it be a prophetic hurricane? Will it just fizzle and die? The other thing I find is interesting is that there is no timeline for this peace plan. It's interesting that they're not set on just, this is going to come out on date XYZ. To me, that sounds more like, God being involved, because he's waiting for the right time. His time is very specific, and things aren't quite ready yet for the revealing of this. Because when this is revealed, when the peace plan is revealed, that's eventually going to be used by the Antichrist, things will start moving ahead at a rapid pace, and they won't stop. So I think it's interesting that there is no specific timeline on the revealing of this, because maybe on God's timeline, we're not quite ready yet. The world is not quite there yet. And so the holding off on this is maybe of prophetic significance. And when that does occur, what hurricanes will be in the Atlantic, what other natural disasters will be around that God's eventually going to use to basically go against the statement by the president or whomever about the dividing of Israel. And how will the U.S. be cut in pieces? Well, I think ultimately they'll be cut in pieces economically, as will all Western nations. But it's something to watch, guys. Exciting times that we're in. Be prepared. Hopefully, you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. He died 2,000 years ago for my sin and your sin. He's coming back soon. And I don't think we have a lot of time left. I think we have less than 2 years before the signing of the 7-year peace treaty. But before that, we need to have the revealing of the peace plan. And there's many peace plans on the table, and I don't know if the exact one that the Antichrist will use is on the table yet. That one could be being put on the table by Trump with his latest peace plan. And if anyone's going to bring forth a plan that both sides could agree to, it would be Trump. He's the author of the art of the deal. So what better person to be in power than one of the greatest negotiators, in this world at this current time, and maybe put in place for a time such as this, maybe prophetically put in place. Maybe God has a purpose and a plan for him, and he happens to be the one who's going to put together the deal that will maybe allow the Palestinians and the Israelis to agree to something, albeit bad. It's going to be dividing dividing Jerusalem rather, that God doesn't like, but prophetically that has to happen. And so what an interesting person to have in such a time as this. Guys, leave it there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.